What I'm about to reveal to you now is not a theory, but a practical secret that has been kept for millennia. There is an action, a specific method, that if you do it, will give you the ability to understand the language of birds. This may seem impossible, but the highest priests of ancient Egypt not only believed in it, they used this ability to guide pharaohs and predict the future. They knew that birds are not just animals, but messengers who travel between our world and the spiritual realm, and they left behind the code to decipher these messages. This code belonged to Thoth, the god of wisdom, and it was so powerful that only 1% of the spiritual elite were allowed to know it. Today, this knowledge is re-emerging, but it won't choose everyone. If you feel an unexplainable connection to nature, if birds seem to follow you or show up at important moments, this is not a coincidence. It is a sign that you are being called to receive this knowledge. Keep watching, because what you are going to learn to do today may forever change your perception of reality. If you've ever felt like a bird was trying to tell you something, comment down below. I am ready to listen. Nature speaks in symbols and signs. Only those who learn its language can understand the secrets of the invisible world. This knowledge was considered dangerous in the wrong hands. The priest believed that if used for selfish purposes, it could cause a catastrophic imbalance between the world of men and the world of spirits. That's why the secret was protected with oaths of silence and complex rituals that ensured only the pure of heart could come near. Communication with birds wasn't a trick, but a deep communion with the very essence of life, an immense responsibility that required absolute discipline and reverence. However, something extraordinary and unprecedented is happening in our time. The ancient energetic barriers that protected this knowledge are dissolving. The planet's vibrational frequency is changing, and with it, Thoth's code is being spontaneously reactivated. Ordinary people with no formal training are beginning to experience remarkable synchronicities involving birds, moments of clarity and guidance that seem to come from nowhere, defying all logic and skepticism of the modern world. These encounters are not mere coincidences. The birds that cross your path at meaningful moments, that land on your window, or sing in a way that touches your soul, these are the first signs. They are the messengers of Thoth, who have patiently waited for millennia for the moment when humanity would be ready to awaken. What you are about to discover is not just about birds. It's about unlocking a part of yourself that has always been connected to this wisdom, and that is now, finally, being called to awaken. The rediscovery of this lost knowledge didn't happen in a forgotten temple or in a mystical library, but in the heart of one of the greatest archaeological findings in history. When Howard Carter opened the sealed tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922, the world was fascinated by the golden treasures and the relics of a glorious civilization. However, among the catalogued artifacts sent to museums, there was one item that was quietly removed and kept away from public view: a rolled-up papyrus whose hieroglyphs looked like nothing Egyptologists had ever seen before. This document didn't narrate battles or royal bloodlines. When it was finally analyzed by a small group of experts in Hermetic texts and sacred languages, the revelation was staggering. The papyrus was actually a practical manual, a detailed instruction guide that taught how to reactivate the human ability to communicate with the collective consciousness of birds. The symbols seemed to pulse with their own energy, describing a system that was at once simple and unimaginably deep. a true spiritual technology. The text described Thoth not as a deity to be worshipped, but as a master architect of consciousness. He had mapped out 22 fundamental sound frequencies, each corresponding to one of the 22 archetypes of sacred birds. Each species functioned as a specific channel for a type of wisdom. Ravens, for example, were bearers of messages about the soul's cycles of death and rebirth. Eagles offered far-reaching visions about life purpose, and little sparrows signaled opportunities for abundance and prosperity on the material plane. The most surprising part was how accessible the method was. Unlike the complex rituals one would expect from such secret knowledge, Thoth's system was designed to be activated by anyone whose intention was pure. The secret wasn't in years of study or elaborate ceremonies, but in a precise combination of 3 elements: a specific breathing pattern, a clear visualization, and the emission of vowel sounds that, together, created a vibrational bridge between the human mind and the invisible communication network used by birds. This bridge allowed for direct dialogue, a flow of information that transcended verbal language. It was a communion from consciousness to consciousness. However, the papyrus included a stern warning, repeated multiple times throughout the text. The code would only reveal itself to those who approached it with a humble heart and a purpose to serve the greater good. Intention was the master key. Any attempt to use this ability for manipulation, personal gain, or to prove superiority would result in absolute and impenetrable silence from the winged messengers. It became clear that the power didn't lie in the technique itself, but in the frequency of the practitioner. The papyrus was a map, but the territory to be explored was the human heart. The purity of intention worked as a safety filter, ensuring that only those aligned with the harmony of nature could access its deepest secrets. The discovery proved that the magic of the ancients wasn't supernatural, but a science of nature that we had forgotten. And now the signs that this science is returning are becoming undeniable. The 3 unmistakable signs that the code has awakened in you. The activation of Thoth's code is not an event you can mark on a calendar or force through sheer will. It is a natural unfolding, a moment of alignment that occurs when your own vibrational frequency, shaped by your experiences and your search for truth, reaches a point of resonance with the pulsing consciousness of nature. The sages of the Nile called this moment the awakening of the inner Ibis, a metaphor for the activation of your spiritual antenna. The signs that this awakening is happening to you are clear, subtle, and at the same time impossible to ignore. The first and most obvious sign is how frequently birds begin to appear in your life. These are not ordinary sightings, but encounters filled with meaning. A hawk appears and circles above your head at the exact moment you're contemplating a major life change. A pair of doves lands on your balcony the day you decide to open your heart to love. A hummingbird shows up, hovering in the air, precisely when you need a sign not to give up on your dreams. The synchronicity becomes so precise it defies any logical or statistical explanation. The second sign is a deep shift in your perception. You begin to develop a sharp intuition, a capacity to feel the presence of birds even before you see or hear them. It's as if a dormant part of your consciousness expands, connecting to an invisible communication network that has always been there. You simply know that a specific bird is about to cross your path, and, more importantly, an internal sensation, an intuitive download, gives you a clear hint about the message or energy it is bringing to that specific moment of your journey. The third sign, and the most transformative, is the discovery of a subtle influence. You realize that you can establish a silent dialogue with these beings through your focused intention. This is not about mental control or manipulation, but about harmonious and respectful interaction. You formulate a question in your mind with clarity and sincerity, and a nearby bird responds with a specific behavior. A song, a flight in a certain direction, or a gesture that serves as unmistakable confirmation or guidance for your question. It's a conversation without words, based on energy and intention. When these three signs begin to consistently and simultaneously manifest in your life, there is no more room for doubt. It is confirmation that Thoth's code has been activated within you. Your spiritual antenna is on and calibrated. You are no longer just observing nature, you are beginning to participate in its secret dialogue. This is the turning point, the moment when you realize that the tools for a deeper understanding of reality are not in ancient books, but alive, flying around you, waiting for your attention. This awakening is only the beginning. It is an invitation to a deeper journey of self-knowledge and connection. The signs are the doorway, showing that you are ready to learn the language and use this connection consciously. However, many who reach this point end up disconnecting again, falling into subtle traps that block the flow of communication. There are fatal mistakes that most people make, preventing this connection from flourishing in its fullness, and understanding them is the next crucial step in not losing this gift. Even after the signs of awakening appear, many people see this connection disappear as quickly as it came. They stumble into mental and energetic traps that completely block the communication channel. The most common and fatal mistake is approaching this sacred practice with an ego-driven mindset, trying to control the process to force an outcome, or to use the ability to feel special and impress others creates immediate vibrational dissonance. Birds, as beings that operate in pure presence and harmony, sense this controlling frequency and simply move away. The second major obstacle is the tyranny of the logical mind. Upon receiving a sign, the person immediately tries to analyze it, dissect it, and fit it into a predefined symbolic system they read somewhere. What does a raven mean? What does mythology say about the eagle? This intellectual approach, though it may seem smart, actually cuts off the connection to the source of the message. Real communication happens on an intuitive level, through the heart. It is instant knowing, a comprehension that arrives as a feeling, not as a logical conclusion to a symbolic puzzle. Impatience is the third mistake that sabotages many aspirants' journeys. We live in a culture of immediate results, and this expectation is projected onto the spiritual path. The person tries the technique once or twice, and, not having a mystical vision or overwhelming experience, quickly concludes this doesn't work for me. Learning the language of nature is like learning a new language or a musical instrument. It requires consistent practice, patience, dedication, and above all, unshakable trust in the process, even when the results are not immediately apparent. The fourth mistake, and perhaps the most subtle and profound, is the lack of reciprocity. People approach with a mindset of taking, wanting to receive messages, guidance, and signs, but rarely think about giving something in return. In Thoth's tradition, and in all authentic spiritual traditions, Communication with the sacred is a two-way street, an energetic exchange. Something must be offered back. A genuine feeling of gratitude, the act of leaving fresh water or seeds, a commitment to care for the environment, or a promise to use the wisdom received to help others. Without this exchange, the connection remains superficial, like a phone call that never truly connects. Nature responds to those who show up as partners, not just consumers of spiritual information. The lack of a gesture of gratitude or a commitment to service creates an energetic vacuum that blocks the building of a trusting relationship with nature's messengers. It's a universal principle. To receive, you must first be willing to give, to actively participate in the cycle of life. Correcting these mistakes is essential. It requires a shift in posture, from an attitude of conquest to one of permission. You must cultivate humility, presence in the moment, the patience of a gardener, and a spirit of generosity. By doing this, dissonance dissolves, and communication begins to flow naturally and effortlessly. It is at this point that it becomes possible to learn the specific technique that initiates use to deliberately tune their frequency, a method that opens the doors to clear and direct dialogue. The breathing technique that only the initiates knew. For those who have corrected their internal posture and are ready to deepen the connection, there is a practical and powerful method. The secret texts of Thoth describe a specific technique known as the breath of the sacred Ibis. This was not a casual exercise, but the master key used by initiates to deliberately tune their vibrational frequency to that of the collective consciousness of birds. The practice requires more than simple curiosity. It demands a genuine commitment to one's own inner transformation and a deep respect for the process that is about to begin. The first step is preparing the environment. You should find a serene place in nature, where you can remain in silence and free from interruptions. The most favorable moments are sunrise and sunset, as during these times, the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes thinner, making communication easier. Sit comfortably with your spine straight and close your eyes. Let go of daily concerns, focusing solely on the intention to connect with the wisdom of nature in a respectful and loving way. The breathing follows a rhythmic and precise pattern designed to alter your state of consciousness. Inhale slowly through your nose, mentally counting to 4, while visualizing a bright golden light descending from the sky and entering through the top of your head. Then hold the breath in your lungs for a count of 7, allowing that golden light to accumulate and expand in the region of your heart, warming your chest. Finally, exhale gently through your mouth for a count of 8, imagining that light projecting outward from your heart to the world around you. During each exhalation, as the light extends from you, silently repeat in your mind the sacred mantra Thoth Ra Ma E. This sound is not a string of random words. It is a vibrational formula that means Thoth, bring me the message. The combination of the breathing rhythm, the light visualization, and the mantra's vibration works together to raise your frequency. Practice this full breathing cycle at least 21 times, allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper into the state of peace and receptivity it generates. At the end of the 21 cycles, you will find yourself in an altered state of consciousness. Your mind will be calm and your perception sharpened. It is at this moment that you should gently open your eyes without any expectations. Don't look for a specific bird or force a vision. Simply observe your surroundings with relaxed attention. Allow nature to come to you. The first bird that catches your attention, that enters your field of vision in a meaningful way, will be your messenger. Interpreting the message will not be an intellectual process. In the expanded state of consciousness brought about by the technique, the message will come as intuitive and instant knowledge. You will simply know what the presence of that bird means for you in that moment. It will be a direct download of clarity, an answer that resonates in your heart and soul, not in your analytical mind. This is the essence of direct communication, and with practice, you will learn to decode the nuances of the different messages they bring. Once the connection is established through correct practice and intention, you begin to notice patterns in the communication. The masters who followed Thoth's teachings through centuries of observation catalogued 7 main categories of messages that birds transmit to humanity. Each category is linked to a specific area of human experience and is often, but not exclusively, delivered by certain types of birds who act as specialists in their respective domains of wisdom. The first category is transformation and rebirth. These deep messages are usually brought by birds such as ravens, vultures, or buzzards, creatures that modern culture wrongly associates only with death. In truth, they are masters of cycles, appearing when one phase of your life is ending so that a new, more authentic one can begin. Their repeated presence is a sign for you to surrender to change, release what no longer serves you, and trust the rebirth process unfolding in your soul. The second category is vision and purpose. These messages come through majestic birds of prey, such as eagles, hawks, and falcons. They appear in moments of doubt or confusion about your career, your life's mission, or the next big step to take. Their presence is a call for you to rise above worldly problems, gain a broader perspective, and see your situation with the clarity and focus of a celestial hunter, realigning with your true purpose and highest calling. The third category of messages concerns love and relationships. These heart-centered messages are often communicated by doves, turtle doves, and other birds known for forming lifelong pairs. They tend to appear when you're facing important decisions about your romantic life, your family relationships, or your closest friendships. Their appearance is an invitation to emotional healing, forgiveness, and opening to deeper and more genuine connections based on loyalty and true affection. The fourth category is abundance and manifestation. These vibrant messages are delivered by small, fast, colorful birds like hummingbirds, canaries, and goldfinches. Their sudden presence is an energetic confirmation that your desires and intentions are materializing in the physical plane. They are a reminder of life's sweetness and an encouragement to continue aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the prosperity goals you seek, trusting that the universe is conspiring in your favor. The fifth category is protection and hidden wisdom. These messages come from the realm of the night, through owls and other nocturnal birds. They appear as guardians in moments of spiritual challenge, when you may feel vulnerable to negative energies or lost in the darkness of uncertainty. The silent presence of an owl is a powerful reminder that you are being protected by unseen forces, and that you possess the inner wisdom needed to see through illusions and find the truth. The sixth and seventh categories are interconnected. The sixth is communication and expression, brought by vocal birds such as parrots, jays, and thrushes, encouraging you to use your voice and speak your truth. The seventh, and perhaps most special, is direct connection with the divine. This message is delivered by extremely rare birds or those appearing completely outside their natural habitat. Seeing them is an unmistakable sign of divine intervention, a personal message sent directly from the spiritual realm, an event so significant it may change the course of your life. And to seal this connection, there is a final step. The permanent activation ritual. Do it only once. Everything that has been presented so far, from the awakening of the signs to the mastery of the techniques, converges toward a single culminating point. In the most guarded texts of Thoth's tradition, there is a description of a sacred ritual, a procedure that must be performed only once in a lifetime. It is known as the sacred marriage with the spirit of the Ibis, and its purpose is to permanently seal the channel of communication, transforming a practiced ability into an integral part of your being. This is the step that separates the student from the master. The preparation for this ritual is just as important as the act itself. You will need 7 feathers from 7 different types of birds, all found naturally as a gift from the earth, never taken by force. In addition, a small ceramic container filled with pure spring or rainwater, and a single white candle. The ritual must be performed during the darkness of the new moon, the time of greatest potential for new beginnings, in a secluded place in nature where you are certain you will not be disturbed for at least a few hours. Upon arriving at the chosen location, begin by creating a sacred circle on the ground using the 7 feathers as markers, with the tips pointing inward. Place the unlit white candle at the exact center of the circle. Sit in a comfortable meditative position, facing east, the direction of the rising sun. Then begin the practice of the breath of the sacred Ibis, but this time with an even more focused intention. Complete 49 full cycles, a sacred number that represents 7 times 7, the completion of a great cycle of learning. After the final breathing cycle, when your energy is at its peak and your mind is completely serene, light the candle in the center of the circle. Take the container of pure water in both hands and, holding it in front of your heart, speak aloud and clearly, with complete sincerity. Great Thoth, Lord of wisdom, keeper of mysteries, I stand before you with humility and reverence. I ask for permission to become a living bridge between worlds. I vow to use this sacred gift for the greater good and in service to the evolution of consciousness. After the declaration, drink a small sip of the water, internalizing your intention. Then gently pour the rest of the water at the base of the lit candle, symbolizing the union of your consciousness, the water, with the flame of the universal spirit, the fire. This act seals your commitment. Now comes the most challenging and crucial part of the ritual, the waiting. You must remain in absolute silence, in a state of total receptivity, with an open heart, until a bird lands within or very near your sacred circle. It may take only a few minutes, or it may take hours. Time is irrelevant. Your ability to maintain faith, patience, and the purity of your intention is the true final test. The arrival of the bird is not a coincidence. It is nature's response, the acceptance of your request. When it finally appears, you will feel an energetic shift throughout your being. In that moment, the ritual will be complete. Your communication ability will be permanently activated, and your perception of reality will be forever transformed. But how can you know if you were destined for this from the beginning? The ability to perform the activation ritual and master this sacred language is not a destiny meant for everyone in this lifetime. Thoth's teachings are clear in stating that only certain souls, those who already carry a spiritual history of initiations in past lives, are truly ready to receive and integrate this gift. It is not about being better or worse, but about a specific soul plan. There are clear and distinct signs that may indicate whether you are one of these chosen souls, predestined to become a bridge between worlds. The first sign, and one of the most common, is a deep and unexplainable attraction to birds that manifests from early childhood. If you were a child who spent hours observing them, who collected feathers, who felt immense sadness at seeing an injured bird, or who had recurring dreams of flying freely through the skies, this was not ordinary childhood imagination. It was your soul remembering an ancient connection, a calling echoing through time, signaling an innate affinity with the winged realm. The second sign is a natural affinity and calming effect on animals in general. If animals, especially the more skittish ones like birds, tend to approach you without fear while staying away from others, that's a strong indicator. If you have the instinctive ability to calm a frightened or injured animal simply through your presence or the gentle touch of your hands, it shows that your vibrational frequency already operates in a spectrum of harmony and trust that the animal kingdom recognizes and responds to positively. The third sign manifests in the world of dreams and spiritual experiences. If you have had astral projection experiences, lucid dreams in which you could fly with total control and joy, or if during deep meditations you have felt your body become so light that it seemed to float, this indicates that your consciousness is already familiar with non-physical states. Your soul already knows the freedom and perspective of flight, making the connection to bird consciousness a much more natural and intuitive step for you than for most. The fourth sign is a heightened sensitivity to sounds, music, and frequencies. If you're someone who can hear subtle sounds that go unnoticed by others, who feels discomfort in environments with loud and chaotic noise, or for whom music has the power to deeply alter emotional and conscious states, this reveals that your auditory system, both physical and subtle, is more refined. This sensitivity is a prerequisite for being able to perceive the vibrational nuances and subtle messages contained in birdsong and calls. The fifth and final sign is an innate connection to the elements of air and ether. If you feel energized and renewed in high places like mountaintops, if you love the feeling of wind on your face as if it were a caress from an old friend, or if you naturally gravitate toward practices like meditation, visualization, and subtle energy work, this shows that you are naturally aligned with the elements that govern the sky and communication. If you recognize yourself in at least 3 of these signs, your presence here, reading these words, is not a coincidence. It is a reunion. The transformation. How your reality changes after mastery. When communication with birds stops being an occasional practice and becomes an integral part of your perception, your everyday reality transforms in ways that once seemed to belong to the realm of fantasy. You not only gain a personal and ever-present spiritual guide, but you become an active node in a vast network of planetary consciousness. Birds become your eyes and ears, your remote sensors, bringing you information and insights about events happening far beyond your immediate physical reach. Advanced practitioners of this art consistently report receiving early warnings about natural events. They describe sudden and unusual changes in the behavior of local birds hours or even days before an earthquake, a major storm, or another significant weather shift. Others have found they can use this connection actively to help others, locating lost pets or even missing people simply by asking for guidance and following the signs and flight paths the birds showed them in response. However, the deepest and most meaningful transformation happens within. By continuously aligning with the consciousness of birds, you begin to embody their essential qualities: presence in the now, freedom from attachments, and a deep trust in the flow of life. Your decisions become quicker, more intuitive, and invariably more accurate, as they are no longer based only on limited logic, but on a broader wisdom. Your ability to manifest your desires also accelerates dramatically as you learn to co-create in harmony with the forces of nature. You develop what the ancient Egyptians called the vision of Horus, or eagle vision. It is the ability to rise above drama and immediate problems and see the larger patterns at play in your life and in the lives of those around you. This translates into immense wisdom in relationships, sharp discernment in business, and a crystal-clear understanding of your soul's purpose. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a conscious navigator of life's river, able to see the bends and rapids long before you reach them. More than that, you become a living channel for the ancestral wisdom of the earth itself. Birds are one of the oldest forms of life on the planet and carry in their collective consciousness a memory that dates back millions of years. By connecting with them, you gain access to that living library. Knowledge about healing plants, the location of forgotten power sites, and even flashes of memory from ancient civilizations may begin to arise in your awareness, as if you were remembering something you've always known. This transformation takes you to a new level of existence. You are no longer just a human being living on Earth. You become a guardian of Earth, a conscious partner in the great symphony of life. Loneliness becomes a distant memory because you are perpetually surrounded by friends and messengers. Life stops being a struggle and becomes a dance, and it is at this point that you understand the true extent of Thoth's legacy and your new sacred mission on this planet. Once you reach full mastery of this ability, your personal life transcends and takes on new, profound meaning. You realize that this gift was not given to you solely for your own benefit, but so that you could serve a greater purpose. You become an active member of a global network of communicators and energy stabilizers, people who, like you, work silently in harmony with nature to maintain the planet's energetic balance. Birds become your constant allies, your companions on the journey, ensuring that you always stay aligned with your highest path. You discover that communication is not only passive. You can send messages, intentions, and healing energy through the bird's consciousness network to other people or to places in need of support. You become a beacon of light, capable of positively influencing your environment in subtle but powerful ways. The ability to predict changes, locate what is lost, and influence events becomes secondary to the joy of actively participating in maintaining the harmony of life on Earth. If you've made it this far, leave the phrase in the comments, "I am ready to listen to the birds." If you'd like to support the channel more directly, check the first pinned comment for a link to contribute and help me share more content like this out there. Any help is really important to me and to the growth of the channel. But know this, just watching all the way to the end already helps me immensely. And you can also share this video with someone who will enjoy the topic. And don't leave yet, I've prepared a special video for you. Click the video now showing on your screen and I'll meet you there.